Welcome to the Human Capital Innovations Podcast. We're your source for personal, professional, and organizational growth and development, where we share original research, explore industry trends, and interview executives and thought leaders from across the globe. We hope you join us often for practitioner-oriented content around all things related to leadership, HR, talent management, organizational development, and change management. Maximize your personal and organizational potential with Human Capital Innovations Podcast. Do you enjoy the Human Capital Innovations Podcast? Enjoy ad-free listening by going to the Patreon page, and please consider contributing even at the producer or sponsorship level. And please leave a review. Thank you for your support. Welcome to the Human Capital Innovations Podcast. In this HCI Podcast episode, I talk with Adam Alfia about the slow death of customer service. Adam Alfia, welcome to the Human Capital Innovations Podcast.
Hello, how are you, John?
I am doing well. It is great to be with you. We've been preparing for this for a long time, and we both have busy schedules, and I'm glad we were able to make this work. You're joining me from a convention in Atlanta, so you're busy and taking time out of your schedule to meet with me and share your insights with me and the audience. I'm south of Salt Lake City in Utah. Today, we're going to be talking about the slow death of customer service. As we get started, I wanted to share Adam's brief bio with everybody. In 1992, at the age of 20, while pursuing his BA at SMU, Adam then became a serial entrepreneur specializing in hospitality industry and technology sectors. He is the managing director of PhoneTernet LLC DBA. Maestro Personal Assistance is a pioneer in the emerging industry of personal assistance. And I would love for you to just provide a little bit of color and additional background to your personal context and the businesses that you're running. And then we'll dive on into the conversation.
Sounds great. Thank you. When I was in SMU, our entrepreneurship class professor tasked us with coming up with something to do a business plan on. And I knew nothing at the time about automobiles, but I owned a Jaguar and had just got my car out of the service shop. I go, man, that was an expensive oil change for $900. So I decided to do a business plan on auto repair for foreign cars, and ended up on paper it looked great. So I started an auto repair shop when I was still in college, grew those to 4 locations. In 2005, sold all of them, and went into the technology space. The PhoneTernet, as you mentioned, platform was right around the time that GM and OnStar were really taking off, and that was a GM product only. And I saw the commercials that they were doing and how the customer experience, and there's always something there for you to answer your call whenever you wanted. So I decided to kind of duplicate that, but offer it to car dealerships. So anytime you sold a car, it came with your own personal assistant. And it went off really, really well. It was well received. And just a few years later, Infinity called us and said, hey, you have a bunch of our dealerships that are offering this platform. We want to take it under our wing and label it Infinity Personal Assistant and include it with every car we sell. We launched that, and now we support 4 manufacturers. We have Infinity, Nissan, Subaru, and Mitsubishi. Any of those vehicles, you push a button in the car for help, and you come to our call center, which is still is located in Dallas, but now after the pandemic, everybody's working remote. We've begged our employees to come back, and no go. So, now everybody's remote, which has actually turned out to be kind of a blessing in disguise. It's easier to manage. But nonetheless, since then, I opened a bunch of hospitality concepts, primarily restaurants, bars, nightclubs, etc. I was single at the time when we launched Infinity, and had a little bit of capital laying around, so we opened up a nightclub. And now we have, between the nightclubs and restaurants, I think we've got, close to 20 locations throughout the state of Texas. And now we're expanding our restaurant concept into various markets. Actually, the next market's here in Atlanta. So it's been a wild ride. While I've been doing all of that, I really, especially with the call center and being so hypersensitive to the customer experience, all that it takes to make a customer smile over the phone. Because you've called call centers before, and it's usually a very negative experience. Everybody dreads calling a call center. You always think you're going to get somebody in India or a low-level worker that really doesn't care. Our premise was the opposite. We want you to hang up the phone and go, wow, that was an incredible experience. Our motto is anything, anytime, anywhere. So you can call us with pretty much anything, and we'll do our damnedest to make sure we take care of it with a smile. So using that and being in that world for so long and training our agents on how to sound happy over the phone, which is an art of itself. Now that I had restaurants, walking in there, a lot of times, especially on the newer places, nobody knew who I was. I was more of the guy behind the scenes. So I'd go in there kind of like a secret shopper, and I was unhappy with the things that I was seeing. Not only that translated into negative Google reviews, customers not coming back because of the servers. And when I really did a deep dive, it's really the age group of because waiters and waitresses, servers now they're called, used to be a career where you would have a server that was a server for 20, 30 years, and that was their job. And now it's more of a stepping stone for people coming out of college, people in college, kind of just to do for a couple of years and then do something else. And really with that, and it was with a lot of businesses, call center work, etc., you see that nobody chooses that as a career anymore. And really, when they are working, they really don't care as much as they should. And the customer experience really lacks and suffers because of all that. And I think it's generational, the generation of all the kids that grew up behind their cell phones are now they lack interpersonal skills. They can't read a customer's face when they know that the customer is not happy or not enjoying their meal. It drives me nuts when I go to a restaurant and I think that the server should look at your plate before they pick it up, and if it's halfway eaten and not, it looks like you didn't finish your plate, ask, was everything okay? Can I get you something else? I see that you didn't enjoy your meal, but none of that is there. So now we're having to retrain our employees to really be sensitive to the customer experience. And really, the reason we launched the real-time feedback platform was internal use, because I wanted the customer to let management know that there was an issue. And one of the things we found is, especially now, we would have a manager. We started a program where a manager would have to touch each table before the customer left, just to walk by, hey, I'm the manager here. How's everything? Is there anything I can get you? And even then, people did not like complaining face to face. It was very, to them, it was a little bit confrontational if there was an issue. So they would refuse, they'd say fine. And we find that fine is another 4-letter word for not great. So we implemented the digital communication platform feedback in our restaurants, and it just really transformed the way we were able to react to the customer experience. And a manager would come over immediately. Hey, I just saw that you said that your crab was cold. Can I get you another plate? Let me make it up to you. Let me buy you some dessert or take care of your appetizers. And it won customers over because they were able to get engagement in real time, and then engagement started digitally rather than a face-to-face conversation. And I think that really is the secret, is to start them off on a digital experience and then end it off in a personal experience.
Well, I love that. And you just laid out a whole bunch of examples. As I introduced the topic for today, I said the slow death of customer service. And you just gave us a bunch of examples of how customer service is often lacking in our experiences, whether that's in a call center, in a restaurant, or some sort of hospitality setting. Really, whatever we might be talking about, I think we've all experienced that, and the frustration that comes, especially if you're making the choice to go out, on a date, or with your partner, or with your family, to go have a meal, to go experience some cool thing, and then you have a negative customer experience. That certainly will impact your future decisions. And so it's really, really important for organizations and for leaders to make sure that they're training their people on how to be more effective in their customer service. And I love how you tie in the digital immediate response and feedback into this personal care touch. We've seen it. I've seen it both ways, right? I've seen it where you have the manager come by and say, "Hey, how was your meal?" Like you said, most of the time you just say, it was fine." You don't really want to get into it. You just say it's fine and move on. I've also seen where organizations have had the real-time feedback, the digital feedback, but but the two aren't connected, right? And so you end up sending a survey response or a quick feedback response, and it doesn't actually change anything or do anything. It gives them some data, but it doesn't improve your experience in the here and now. And so what you're describing is a way to tie the two together, where I can provide real-time feedback, where that will then go to real people who will then be able to provide real personal touches to then address the issue. Maybe I go into the bathroom and the bathroom's a mess, and I can provide some real-time feedback, and someone can go not only fix it, clean it, but they can also stop by my table and say, "Hey, I'm sorry about that. What can we do to make it up to you?" Those types of little things can make a really, really big difference in the customer experience.
Saving that customer, buying them, a free appetizer that costs you, pennies on the dollar, but now you've saved that customer. And what companies don't realize is that, or the employees don't realize, is all the work that goes into customer acquisition cost to get that customer to actually come visit your location. And one unhappy employee can ruin that whole experience. One of the things that drives me nuts is how poor of a selection some restaurateurs have on their for their host or hostess at the front. That is the first person that your customers interact with. And if they're not friendly, even, they can do a crappy job on the table selection, but at least have them be friendly, where they come in, "Hey, not a problem. Can I get you a glass of water while you're waiting?" Things like that really open up, what am I going to expect from this restaurant? And that a lot of times that hostess or host is going to be really the first indicator of what kind of experience you're about to have.
Yeah, and I want to make a bridge to a related topic. So we're talking about the customer experience. So much of the principles of what we've just been talking about apply very directly into a larger conversation around the employee experience. If we look internally within the organization, so often the employee is the customer of the organization, and there's service areas within the organization, such as the HR department, that in large part their purpose is to be the customer support center, right, for employees who need help with various things or have complaints or concerns or whatever. And how often do we have these same exact problems within organizations with our people, where they're not having a good employee experience? And if we shift the framing a little bit and think about it in the same terms as we think about customer experience, if we want our customers to be engaged and to be loyal and committed and to come back again and again and again, we want those same things with our people, with our employees. We want to select great people. We want them to choose us, that we want them to stay with us. We want them to be engaged and loyal to us. And that then directly leads into better customer service and better customer experience. And so, the same principles that we're talking about in terms of opportunities for real-time feedback, and then a personal touch point, I think it absolutely applies within a team setting as well. And I know that, as a manager and as a leader myself, that I love to get feedback from my people so that I know how to make adjustments if they're having a bad experience, if something's hurting them, especially before it gets to the point where they say, "I'm done. I'm fed up. I want to leave. I want to go somewhere else." And I'm certain that in the hospitality industry, this is something that a lot of organizations can pay closer attention to, because it's a tight market and it's a tight labor market, and it's hard to get good people and to hang on to them.
Right, and I'm glad you brought that up. So it's funny, about 40% of the feedbacks that we do get through the platform is from employees. So especially in the arena space, where, on a given event, they might have anywhere from 200 to 400 people there, a lot of them part-timers that are just coming there to get, earn a little bit of extra money. So what they've done is, since they can't give walkie-talkies to every single employee in the building, and everybody has their cell phones, we buy branded URLs for every one of our platforms. So, for example, American Airlines Center is one of our since 2019. They've been on the platform where the Mavericks and the Stars play, and they empower every one of their employees to now see something, say something. So we get stuff in all the time from an usher that sees a broken chair or a wet spill, where they just pull out their phone, they go to TeleAC, they snap a picture of it, they send it in, and central command, their average response time is under 3 minutes. They'll respond back to the employee because they put in #EMP in their feedback, which designates them as an employee, and the system catches that and says, okay, this is from an employee. And they respond right back saying, hey, John, thanks for letting us know. We're sending maintenance right now. And when you empower your employees to make a difference, and they contribute, and they see that the things that they're letting you know about get handled in real time on the spot, and that you're really making the place safer and you're enhancing a guest experience, that really drives people to have a better work. They're happier with their contribution. One of the things that we built was a anonymous feature. So now we see employees at various organizations will send in something and saying, hey, I've noticed that every time I come in, that my work area is dirty from the previous employee, or hey, I'm working harder than everybody else, but some of the managers overlook it. But it's giving them a voice to really, and they know that's a manager is getting their feedback. Think about, if you want to send anonymous feedback to your boss or a manager, you have to set up fake email address. I mean, it's a pain in the butt. But if I can go to a feedback platform that I know that is anonymous, and I can send something in, it really motivates me to be a bigger part of the, not just complain to my coworkers, but tell management about issues and have them fixed.
Yeah, I love it. And I think we just need more of that open communication and constant feedback to be able to address the types of issues that people are facing in real time. So many of the traditional forms of customer feedback or employee feedback has been so disconnected and delayed from the actual experience, the point of pain, that by the time anything ever gets addressed, if it ever does, it almost doesn't even resonate with the person anymore. They don't even think about it or remember it. They just remember they had that bad experience and it wasn't addressed at the time. And so all of this, we have the technologies to do it. Let's do it. Let's integrate this into our organization. Whether we're talking about face-to-face, in the office employees, or remote or hybrid employees, retail or hospitality members and workers, or whatever the industry may be. I think the principles we're talking about here apply and can make a big impact on the attraction and retention of great people, which will then feed into better customer service and lead to the attraction and retention of good customers who want to stick with your organization, and will come back and again and again and again, and help you, to find success as a company, whatever your product or service may be.
Yeah, I think it's almost impossible to have a great company with happy customers without having happy employees, because it's a ripple effect that translates, throughout the organization, and then customers see it. I mean, when you have unhappy employees in your building or in your business, customers are really aware of that. One of the things I love there's a story that there was an employee that sent in a feedback to management and said, hey, the employee break room, bathroom has lights that flicker all the time. Since managers don't use that bathroom, only the employees do, and it's really bothersome when you're in the restroom and you see the lights are flickering on and off. And he sent in a picture of the flickering of the light. So the manager wrote back, goes, man, I really appreciate it. We would have never known. We'll go ahead and have maintenance. If you see any other bulbs or any issues in the building that need addressing, I'm all ears. Let me know, and we can fix it all at once. The employee immediately during his lunch break went throughout the entire building and took pictures of every issue with lights in the building, and sent in like 12 different feedbacks about every incident. And within 24 hours, everything was fixed. And he wrote back and goes, man, I really appreciate it. I didn't know you guys really cared about something that I had to say. And he felt like he made a contribution, not just for him, but for all the employees. He was like a hero for fixing the lights in the bathroom. So it's cool how,
and such
how
a simple thing.
Such
a simple thing makes such a big difference, right? Because it's really, it tends to be death by 1,000 cuts for employees or for customers. Like oftentimes, especially if it's a place someone likes, if traditionally and historically, I've enjoyed being a team member and a worker in an XYZ organization. One little thing's not going to be enough to push me over the edge, but it's death by a thousand cuts. And it's all these little things that start to add up. Same thing with a really great customer, someone who's been coming to your restaurant for a long time, for years. One bad experience with a dirty bathroom or having a problem with their order or whatever, that's not going to change their overall behavior if they already have a good history and a track record. But it doesn't take too many of those experiences to start to erode at the trust that they have and to realize, this isn't worth my time anymore. And so just having a way to address those simple little things and not allow them to build up over time, so that now people are just like, yeah, my boss doesn't care. My organization doesn't care. And then you have all this self-talk going on in your head, whether it's accurate or not. You start to believe that, your company doesn't value you. They don't trust you. They're not going to be there to support you, and et cetera. And then next thing you know, you're looking for your next job and you're out of there.
Not only that, you have the water cooler effect where employees are always complaining to other employees about, and then they get other people to kind of agree with their misery. But when you have an open platform where people are openly communicating and letting management know about issues, I think that goes a long way to solve some of that stuff. It's very interesting. You go back to loyalty and customers. Obviously, you're aware about the service recovery paradox, where if one of your loyal customers has an issue and then you fix it quickly and immediately to their satisfaction, they're actually more loyal than a customer that's never had an issue at all. So you got to have those, that open line of communication to let you know about issues. And also, I'm sure you know about CES, customer effort score, how easy it is for a customer to reach you and let you know about issues. Some companies make it so confusing on how to leave feedback, the response rate for the feedback. Walmart is one of the ones I always think about, because we've been trying to get their business for a long time. So before we have one of our meetings, we'll have one of our sales guys actually go through the complaint process on their website. And it's, sometimes it's 12 days, 13 days before anybody responds to you. That's just unacceptable, especially in today's world. Everybody wants everything now. Amazon has ruined, if we can't get anything tomorrow or the same day, we don't even look at. It's weird because when you look at Amazon now and you want to go order something and somebody says it'll be here like in 3 days, you go, what is that? I'm not ordering that. It's too long. Everybody wants everything now. It's just the environment we live in now is everybody wants, if you're not taking care of me now, I'm going somewhere else.
Yeah. So let's recommit to having really great customer service. And again, external, facing outward to our community, to our customer base and the people that we're providing products and services to, but also internally. Let's think about the customers internally within our organization. And let's think about the employee experience as well as the customer experience. If we can have better customer service, better employee service and experience in both areas, it becomes reinforcing. And a happy employee is going to lead to happier customers. Happier customers also takes a bit of the load off of employees who often get stuck in the middle trying to help the customer to be happy with their experience, but also having to be the ones that are dealing with maybe less than ideal circumstances within the organization, who are dealing with challenging policies or whatever. And so when the customers are happy, employees also tend to be happier and they're able to provide better service. And so let's just create a mutually reinforcing upward spiral of just great positive experience. And it starts with organizations investing into these types of systems so that we can have regular feedback loops. And like you said, the technology to provide immediate feedback, and then the ability to connect that back to a real human touch point where you can get personalized attention. It'll make all the difference in the world.
It really takes a commitment. A lot of companies, if you ask pretty much anybody that's in the customer service space at a large organization, you said, do you want to have happy customers? And they go, oh yeah, of course we do. But really very few do take the commitment to actually do things to improve that customer experience. And one of the things we always ask in the beginning of a pitch with a new client is, do you really want to know? Because there's a lot of organizations with their head in the sand, and they don't put the tools in place to gather real-time feedback. But one of the questions is, do you want a commitment? Because once your customers now expect, if you tell customers, hey, scan this QR code, let us know about your experience and we'll try to fix it. And then you send that in and then nobody responds to you, then that's worse than you might as well not have the platform at all, because now you're making a promise that you're not delivering on.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Adam, this has just been a really great conversation. I know at the time, and I need to let you go here in just a minute. But before we wrap things up, I wanted to give you a chance to share with the audience how they can connect with you and find out more about your work, and then give us the final word on the topic for today.
Sure. Yeah. So they can get in touch with me. The company's Real-Time Feedback. The website is realtimefeedback.com. My name's Adam Alfia. I'm on LinkedIn. We are passionate about communicating customers, employees, and companies to make sure that everybody has a open dialogue and fix issues in real time and try to address issues before they fester. Nobody likes to, have things that bothers them for a long period of time. And we help, connect that bridge.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Again, I encourage my audience to reach out, get connected, find out more about what Adam and his team can do for you. And as always, I hope everyone can stay healthy and safe, that you can find meaning and purpose at work each and every day. And I hope you all have a great week. Do you enjoy the Human Capital Innovations podcast? Enjoy ad-free listening by going to the Patreon page, and please consider contributing even at the producer or sponsorship level. And please leave a review. Thank you for your support. Thanks again for joining us for this episode of the Human Capital Innovations podcast. I hope you stay healthy and safe and that you have a great week.